It's the easiest. Money, really, it's the most difficult part.
Whenever I reach out to investors, they tell me you're in the MENA region, you should have the money, but
no, we unfortunately, and let's be realistic today. We don't have gaming investors in the region. Zero.
I'm happy you said that.
Zero.
Yes.
Or hobbyists who try to jump into this wagon just to
to change your business model.
Yeah, they're zero.
Yeah.
Next level.
Next level on the ABXY podcast with Ziad, you have Nour Khrais, the founder and CEO of Mysel World. In this episode, we'll learn more about Nour's 20-year journey in the mobile games industry, from SMS games to the games that we know today, as well as we learn more about his take on glocalization and on how to build ecosystems and how to build companies that can actually target the global market. Nour, thank you for being part of the ABXY podcast with Ziad.
Thank you for hosting me. Thank you.
Nour, to start with this episode, I'm interested to know how you got into the business of gaming in the first place. What got you into getting into this business?
So my journey basically started in 2002, or the spark of my journey started in 2002. So at that time I was working with a French company based in Lyon in France, and I had the opportunity to attend a meeting in Paris with one of the telco operators regarding value-added services, because I was into the mobile value-added services and the platform that serves operators the mobile value-added services. So I was there, and one of the lecturer at that time, or the guest speaker, was talking about storytelling and something called mobile gaming that will be or started in Finland. He was coming from Finland, from a university called Helsinki University, from the Media Lab, and he was explaining about something called mobile gaming. And he showed a graph showing the projection in the upcoming 5 years of something that is called mobile gaming. And then he asked a question about storytelling. Who's interested in storytelling? And I raised my hand. I said, myself, I like storytelling. And he said, when you think of storytelling, what story comes to your mind? So I said, Wizard of Oz. And he said, which mobile gaming company you are working with? I said, none. I'm with a company doing platforms, technology. He said, no, it's impossible, because this is an example I'm giving in all my training about mobile gaming. So then he chatted with me and he said, I want you to fly with me to Helsinki University tomorrow. And I said, okay. And in Arabic, I replied, inshallah. He said, I don't understand. I said, one day. He said, no, I will pay your ticket. I want you to see the Media Lab. And I said, okay, fine. Let me ask my company. So I took a few days, went to the Media Lab. And at that time, I saw a group of people working on something, collaborating. And he said, we are working on converting them from SMS games into mobile games, into the Java games. And I said, wow, interesting. How can I be part of this? He said, you can. If you are interested, think of something unique. So I started to think in few days while I was in Finland, and I told him localization. And he said, interesting, explain. So I explained about my idea of mobile localization, or building games based on the culture. And that was my journey. And 2003 came back, and I kicked off my studio here in Jordan, and started building games. And this is the start of my journey.
Super interesting. At the time, I was only 10 years old. I wanted to ask you, what's an SMS game?
So basically, when I started my journey into building content, I started with a mobile value-added service company back in 1999. And my job was a content business development manager, or working on the building content. And one of my tasks was to create interactive content. So we were building SMS games based, for example, people used to play Hangman by sending commands, SMS commands, or playing trivia, or playing... So we started as game creators or content creator at that time, building content on SMS. Then it turns to MMS at that time. So people were working on interactive SMS games, and myself, I was part of this operation, building the platforms that helps building those games with this French company. And before that, I was part of the people building those games. And now I'm a game developer.
Wow. And so after SMS games, you told me they were talking about mobile games, but at the time we did not have like iPhones or smartphones.
Nothing.
How did it work?
It was Java basically. So I was, and how I learned, so I was working with one of the leading companies here in the region on mobile value-added services, and my responsibility or my job was to create content and nothing technical. And I became friend with the CTO of this company, who became one of my best friends. And he said, we were in Dubai, and he said, what exactly after work, your time? I said, nothing. I stay at my flat. Sometimes I go for walking. He said, listen, come and learn Java with me. And I used to be a programmer HTML, C, Visual Basics when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, fine. He said, you sit with me on the server room. I will teach you to debug our Java codes. And I learned Java at that time, learning about the structure of code. Then I was interested into mobile. There was something called the Java Micro Edition, J2Me. And I started learning about J2Me. And later on, I moved from Dubai and working with the company to Egypt, Cairo, and started to work on more Java platforms with Oracle, implementing some. I used to work with a company called Yalla in Egypt, just building content portals. And part of my job was to deal with the technical team, and I was into mobile. So this is how we were building games on something called Java J2Me. The market was fragmented. We had like thousands of devices, and it was fun.
At the time, you were building these games in the MENA region.
In the MENA region. My focus since day one was the MENA region.
Interesting.
So I was living in France, and I remember when I decided to set up my company, I had this, most of my friends who I know in France. I used to live in Strasbourg in France, and my friends started to work with gaming companies. At that time, Glue, Ubisoft, all the company that started mobile in Europe.
Yeah.
And myself, I remember reading about, how being an entrepreneur. And I remember a sentence in one of the books saying it's the painful journey for any person to enter. And in my mind, I said, if it's painful, then I will say akh, as in Arabic. I will not say ay. And the only person who will understand me to say akh is someone who basically from my region.
Yeah.
So I talked with my family in France, and I told them, I need to set up a company in Jordan because I need people who understand me, because I was raised here in Jordan, and I want someone to understand my pain. And this is why I selected Jordan. And when I went to Helsinki, the discussion with the guys was to see an emerging market, because I was seeing the future. I was seeing future, and that was 2003. So that's why since then I'm focused on the MENA region.
I'm happy you mentioned the emerging market. I'm gonna get back to this later on. But in 2003, you came back to Jordan. You started a company. Is it the same company?
It is Meiselward. So Meiselward is the pride of the lion, and it's a area in north of Jordan. And even when I selected the name, I selected something related to my culture.
Yeah.
So it's an area in north of Jordan, Jarash, and my parents all own a piece of land under the name of Meiselward. It's a historical name, because we used to have Romans and lions in Jordan. So Meiselward means the pride of the lion.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to select a name that is that relates to me, relevant to me, to my culture, and I was thinking globally. I want a name that is Arabic, that has two Arabic words, and will go globally one day. So this is why Meiselward, and since then, yes, I've been operating Meiselward. So I stayed in France, flying back and forth until 2010. And then since 2010, I started to, be more spending more times in Jordan and the Middle East and being back and forth from France to the MENA region. So this is the story, and it's a fun journey.
It's super interesting, to be honest. So between 2003 and 2010, you were back and forth between here and France.
True.
What were the type of games that you guys developed, and what was the business model at the time?
So 2003, we were the first Arabic company to set up a mobile gaming studio.
Yeah.
And basically, funny enough, that when I looked around to find developers or people to work with me, almost zero people who were into understanding what is a mobile game or a platform, because it's not it was not that common business worldwide. So first thing I did, I wanted to learn myself and the cycle of mobile game development. So what I did, I collaborated with a Italian company with a partnership with a value-added service provider in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, and we created the local version of Spider-Man 2.
On mobile. Free
smartphones in 2003.
How did it play? I'm curious to know.
Yeah, so we had Spider-Man 2. So our job was to create localized content inside the game, and to basically find a way where we can technically have a right to left Arabic version of the text inside the game, and we did it. And through this cycle, I had the chance to travel back and forth between the game developers, the Italian companies. They were working with a company based in the Netherlands, and I learned the full cycle of game development. Then I saw there's two tracks in game development. People are building games or companies at that time in India or on Eastern Europe, in Kiev, Ukraine.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let's explore. So we started to explore Indian developers and Ukrainian developers at that time. And my team, I remember they were asking me, are we going to shift building? I said, no, I want to learn. So my plan was to learn and transfer the knowledge from my local teams in India or Ukraine to Jordan. So what we did, we tried game studio. We hired developers in India, and we hired developers in Kiev, Ukraine. And we decided to work at that time on a game called Tawla for one of the Siemens devices. So I had a friend who works with Siemens. He contracted us to build a Tawla game. And I said, I want to test my both studios. And then we decided to go with the quality that we had better in Kiev.
Yeah.
I went to Kiev, worked with the guys there to transfer the knowledge based on a 3 years investment from Meiselwer. And we did this after 3 years. The guys came to Jordan. They transferred the knowledge to my team. And we started to build fully fledged mobile games in Jordan with the local team. At that time, there was something called a secret platform. So we were invited to work on different technology, we did not know at that time it was the iOS or the iPhone that was coming. And my team that used to work with me, the seniors in Kiev, they moved to this secret project. And later on, we realized
it was the iPhone.
And they were iOS, and they were with a different company. So this is how I started, basically. So you basically need to build knowledge. I started to work with universities. I managed to get into local university with build relation with professors in the university, ask them for projects of students who basically works on different Bluetooth technology or mobile platform. At that time was Palm dominating the market. So I said, whoever building for Palm, please, I would love to interview him or her. This is how I started interviewing people working on a Palm system or HTC at that time, which is the Windows-based system, and learning on different devices, advanced devices. People were doing Bluetooth application, chatting application, or whatever at that time.
It was the Wild West on
exactly
mobile.
So this is how we started, basically.
Cool. And how did you fund this operation? Like from 2003 until you like let's say until the iPhone or the app stores as we know them today?
Self-funded. So we've been building. So we have self-funded the company from 2003 until 2011. 2011, we went. The shift happened in the market from feature phone to paid games into free-to-play games slowly.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a self-funded company, we were dependent on telco operators. And one of the main clients for us, a big client, we had a delay in our invoicing. So we had money, but the telco operators or the service provider was delaying the payment.
Yeah.
So we had to raise money, but I was not ready for VCs. So what happened, we were lucky to have an angel investors with us, 2011, a silent investor who entered a very small amount just to get this conversion.
The cash
exactly, and to convert from paid to free-to-play. And since then, we continued self-funding. So we are 100% self-funded operation for the past 21 years. And this is why we always, and we kept this, especially after we started building capacity building and building the community, just to show our community, our game developers, we can do it.
It's possible.
It is possible. Yes, maybe I'm not driving a Ferrari or Bugatti right now, but I have 28 team members and have 100 game live on the app stores.
Yeah.
So you can.
Since you mentioned the games, when I was taking a look at the studio, I saw a Cut the Rope 2.
Yes, and we are doing a new project with Cut the Rope soon.
With Cut the Rope. So what specifically, what are you guys working on?
So we do our own IPs, or we collaborate with other studios like Zip2Lab. Since a few years now, we help them, or they help us also sometimes on certain technical aspects. So in Cut the Rope 2, the challenge was Zip2Lab wanted to enter into the MENA region, and they wanted at that time to get into operator billing, integration, localization, and building certain code level into their games that can help them market their games in the MENA region.
Yeah.
And we did Cut the Rope 2 and Cut the Rope Magic with them, and we kept on supporting them for a couple of years. Then the company expanded. They moved to bigger operation at Zip2Lab. We kept the friendship, and these days we are working on a new project that hopefully, inshallah, will be launched in the upcoming few weeks or few months. A new Cut the Rope version, especially for the MENA region.
Nice. And when was the first collaboration like Zepto?
2000 and I think 17 or 16, a few years ago. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And before that, like from converting into free to play till you worked on the Cut the Rope game, what was your main focus at the time? Was it localization? Was it content creation? Was it licensing?
Creation, IP creation, creating our own games, stories. And I'm a very strong believer of IPs.
Yeah.
It's tough, less, not a quick wins, but this is the value. I always say to my students that I'm I studied agriculture engineering myself.
Okay.
My
has nothing to do with gaming.
Nothing. And then I finished my master's and PhDs into doctor and to gaming. But my engineering, or being, as always I say, being a fallah farmer myself,
yeah.
I believe on long term. I personally love the olive tree. And olive tree is a long-term kind of agriculture. And when I look into IP, it's like a piece of land that you own it. And one day, either you grow it and you make a small amount of money, or you look into a successful kind of agriculture or business where you can bring it on and use it and build on someone else's land and then, gain quick wins. And I decided to look into long-term kind of business. So we create our own IPs, or we collaborate with other IPs, but we always own part of the technology or part of the IP. Whether with Zip2Lab or with... so we build games also for Shaquille O'Neal, for example, Shackdown 2, a basketball player with Muhammad Ali Klai. And it was one of the first time Muhammad Ali Klai tweets in his life because of this game, which was a collaboration between Shaquille O'Neal, Muhammad Ali Clyde, Jet Li, and built by Mayselward team.
Interesting.
So that was so we work with IPs. We hold the technology. We self-publish, or today we collaborate with distributors or publisher to basically have our games and distribute our games within their capacity of distribution or publishing.
What would you say is your most famous IP?
So we started Tricks, Tarneeb, but so we build games. You asked me, we build games that we love. So I used to play games since like every game developer since we were kids.
Yeah.
And I'm a handheld kind of gamer. So I started my life as
On the casual side.
on the Game and Watch.
Yeah.
So I work since, and I decided when I want to set my company and my operation, I want something that makes, and
Looks like you.
so yeah, that excites me, that I feel part of it. So we are building board games, card games. We do dominoes is my favorite. It does not mean that it's number one in terms of revenue, but it's my favorite. So we do casual games. We expanded a few years ago through our UK-based operation, building what used to be called hyper casual games, and today we call it hybrid hyper casual because it's more fun, and because we failed in the first model, so we trying to create a new model called hybrid hyper casual. So light games, snackable games, fun, where I can share with my kids, and they are it's safe to play. This is how we build our games.
You have an operation in the UK?
Yes, we in 2017 we were so we faced a UI UX challenge within our operation. We saw that this is something that you need to build quickly because competition is coming from companies more mature. Locally, we did not find the right talents to help us building UI UX. So the UK expansion was to solve part of our UI UX challenge because of the maturity in the ecosystem in the UK. So we were based in the West Midland in a place called Leamington Spa next to Warwick University, Coventry University, and the whole town was companies like Quali today, Ubisoft, etc. So we started to learn. Then we saw that there is an opportunity in hyper casual games because we have a publisher called Quali. We are next to us. So we started building a few months before COVID hits everyone. We started to build hyper casual games, and the company there is focused. So our store from the UK is focused on the hybrid hyper casual, and our studio in Jordan is focused on the casual games.
Nice. Interestingly, during the COVID days, I was at Quali.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I did not actually get to work with you. I'm happy I asked you all of these questions because I was trying to lead the conversation into where we are today. So you mentioned that in 2003 in Helsinki, they were interested in an emerging market. And at the time, we considered the Arab or the MENA market as an emerging market. And unfortunately, in 2024, we still consider the MENA market as an emerging market.
True.
And since you've been through the whole process from SMS games to mobile games to free to play to even premium games, licensing, like you've done like you've covered most of the spectrum. What do you think still lacks in the MENA region for us to be able to compete on a global level? That's why I asked you, by the way, about your most famous IP.
Collaboration. I think the only way we can compete on a global level is to have a studio that will have different game artist, designer, developers, marketee from the whole MENA region. I think today this is what we lack. There is a few studios who are creating IPs based on this collaboration. I consider ourselves, we are a mixed team, so we have people from Egypt, Jordan, Europe in our operation, but I think there should be more on the IP side. Maybe publisher, they already have different collaboration between different nationalities from the MENA region, but I'm with having strong publishers in the region, but with local products. What is happening right now, we have successful publishers with international products, which basically means that it is good for a certain period of time for learning, but I think with no local support for our own developers, we will never manage to get our products globally. And this is my biggest challenge today, where I can see Saudi Arabia is building a good model. Hopefully it will work into publishing, having local focus on their local talents and doing local content that can go globally, which is fine. And so I think this is the only way we collaborate. I think collaboration, my dream, honestly, if you ask me, I think I wanted always to have a team, and it's not because there is no politics here. So I always wanted a business unit in the Gulf region that sells game developer from Jordan and Egypt and marketing people and UI from Lebanon. This was my dream. So I always thought about my perfect team. I always called it dream team, is to have someone from the Gulf region who can sell for me, someone who built from Egypt and Jordan, and of course there's super good developers in Iraq and superb game developers in Syria. But for me, this is where you work within your understanding. So I work in culture where it's very Lebanese related, because in the value added services I work in Egypt, and I'm a Jordanian, work in the Gulf region. So I always dreamt of building familiar with. But hopefully now I have the Egyptian, Jordanian, Gulf region part. Still the Lebanese part is in the process, and I think this is how we can. There's no. So today. You look into our region, yes, true, still emerging markets when it comes to the naming, but I think we are the most mature in terms of growth today. And I was talking a few hours ago about the esports. It took years and efforts from big governments, from developed market, including France, as hosting the Olympics 2020. The next Olympics 2025 or 2024 actually this year, and it took one World Cup from Saudi Arabia to have the next Olympic esport 2026. So the official Olympic esport will happen in Saudi Arabia 2026, and it took years to be to convince the Olympic Committee to have it in developed markets. Why? Because it's not because, as we say always, Saudis are spending money. It's there is a market, there is a demand, there is yes, definitely the biggest investment today in our industry, regional and worldwide, is coming from Saudi Arabia or the Gulf region. And true, but the demand is high. When you look into numbers and you look into the year-on-year growth that is happening in the MENA region compared to any other regions in the world, you can.
In terms of revenue?
In terms of revenue, growth of players, in terms of, I started recently working with our eSport Federation here in Jordan. We built an academy doing eSport academy, management academy. So we started to train eSport managers. And I started looking to eSport with also our collaboration with DET in Dubai Tourism. So we launched for the second year an eSport component of our games with Dubai government or Dubai Tourism. And I'm starting to look into the top players into, popular games like FIFA or FC or Valorant or what. They are from the MENA region.
Yes.
So this indicates that this is, today we have to redefine, I think we are defined as emerging markets because we are in emerging countries or developing countries. But I think we have to take out the gaming and start defining ourselves in a different way.
But there's a difference between consuming games like esports and developing games. In terms of game development, I still consider ourselves as an emerging market. Through
the ecosystem, yes, of course.
Yes.
I agree with you. It's very sad. I think, yes, if we look into the ecosystem, our universities, our culture, and in Jordan, we managed through what we have been doing through the Jordan Gaming Lab and all the support we got, we managed to change a bit of the culture.
You are ahead of the region.
Yeah, we managed to see this. But again, I'm a very strong believer on if it, should work on Lebanon, Iraq, Jordan, Syria on the same way that it's working in Jordan to make sure that this market will be successful. This is why myself and my team, we are involved in project in Saudi Arabia. We are involved in capacity building project, not commercial only project, and helping building the community. Because if we don't help building the right community, I don't, Jordan, yes, it is a good market when it comes to game developers, maturity, etc. But commercially, it's a very small market. We should, we need to depend on Iraq. But to grow Iraq, we need to grow the monetization, the payment, etc. Saudi Arabia, the same. And we need to work all together to make it happen. Yes, true. We are emerging markets. Still, yeah.
But this is where I kind of disagree a bit with you in terms of, you told me you think that the local players, local developers should focus on the local market. For us to grow as an ecosystem.
True.
This is how you see it. For me, I see it as the exact opposite. I'm interested to know why you think it is this way.
I think from a technical point of view, and I always, so now our products, if you talk about myself, our products today, our domino games being distributed in major markets like the US. We have very strong partners in the US, in Latin America. Been nominated for several times on esports, big platforms, etc. But to reach to this level, we had to go through a local testing phase. And I think when you build any product, if you look into the history of Angry Bird, it was successful in the Scandinavian country before it kicked off and was noticed by Apple. If you look into any local, any product, if you test locally, you will get a quick feedback. Technically, you will learn faster to go globally. Myself, this is how I see. You cannot go, the global market is tough.
Yes.
It's very tough. Tough because you can find the cycle of, I look into my UK office and Jordanian office, for example. The moment today I want to order a PC or a MacBook, whatever, in the UK, it takes me less than 24 hours to have it in my office.
In front of your door.
In Jordan, which is an open almost, or in Dubai, I need 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7 days.
In Dubai is actually 1 day.
1 day, yeah, in Dubai. In Jordan, I need a week, 2, actually. So this, so it's very tough. The infrastructure is not yet there. So I think you build your muscles locally in a very small gym where you pay $10 per month. Then you go to Golden Gym and you pay $100 and show your muscles. This is how I look into it.
Yes,
but
it's interesting, by the way.
Yeah,
I never looked at it this way.
So this is how today I think we should go globally. The problem today, going directly globally, consumes a lot of your cash flow, marketing budget. And honestly, I will say something. I'm not a strong believer in publishers.
I'm the exact opposite, by the way.
You don't go to a publisher if you are not strong enough to, because publishers, you need to be strong before going to publishers.
No, I believe we should have local publishers.
Of course.
Yeah, this is the catalyst.
I think game developers need a publisher. I'm with the segmentation of a game developer, a publisher. No, yes. I'm not doing you. But you don't go to a game developer. A game developer should not go to a publisher
before they are ready.
If they are not ready. Because they will eat them.
But also sometimes the publisher, like for example, for my company, we were able to publish a game globally with 10 million downloads because we resorted to publishers.
Of course, because it depends on the publisher. But in general, the publisher, it's a publisher is someone who basically have a very
smart money
and
traditional
exactly.
Definitely.
So they are bankers.
Yeah. Backers that understand your business.
Exactly.
Yes.
But they don't care about your product.
This is in mobile.
Yeah, it's at mobile.
In mobile, but in different, like in console and PC,
Console is different, yeah.
So that's a different story.
Yeah, true.
Nour, how do you think we compare as an ecosystem to, for example, let's say a new ecosystem or a relatively new ecosystem? Let's say we're talking about Turkey, because Turkey is a relatively new, but it's a really strong gaming ecosystem. Or even the UK, since you are present in the UK. How do you think we compare in terms of talent, in terms of company sizes, in terms of money? Since you told me publishing globally requires money, and people outside think that we have the money as an industry. And what do we still need to get there?
Well, let's start with the most difficult part, which sometimes the people tell you is the easiest. Money, really, it's the most difficult part.
Whenever I reach out to investors, they tell me you're in the MENA region, you should have the money, but
no, we unfortunately, and let's be realistic today. We don't have gaming investors in the region. Zero.
I'm happy you said that.
Zero.
Yes.
Or hobbyists who try to jump into this wagon just to
to change your business model.
Yeah, they're zero.
Yeah.
So basically, we start from this. Compared to Turkey, the government helped. We know the government helped a lot in Turkey to set up the scene, but also there was a big number of local investors who basically believed in the local scene that was coming out from Turkey. And I remember myself, because one of my first angel investors is a Turkish, and and I remember at that time I was a very close friend with Peak Games, which Peak Games, all of us know how
they were a catalyst for the market,
of course, and how Sidar took this success to make it a Turkish success that generated more and more studios in Turkey, and with the support, directly, indirectly, with the government, with the infrastructure in a way or another. I think we need to start with finding investors in our local who believes in our local talents, and I think the only way investors can or we can bring investors to have a success story from local studios in our market, and a studio that basically will exit, make money, and go back and invest in local studios. Compared, no, I'm looking to the region as a region. Compared to Turkey, we are a bit far away.
Yes, behind.
This is the reality, and all the success stories that came from the acquisition of Zynga in the past few years were mostly Turkish companies who managed to operate in the UK or the US and build their, again, I think we need another push, which I believe today Saudi Arabia will help in this push.
Yeah.
I think the revamping of UAE, because we know Abu Dhabi is revamping their approach for investment into gaming, and I think this change will also push a bit of...
In what sense?
I think we always looked into... So in the past 20 years, most of the investors looked into investing to build a name, AAA. And we failed. We spent a lot of money, and we did not believe in our local developers. We had to bring the big names, and those big names, they were genuine to help us building a AAA or success, but they don't belong to the culture. In my study, I had a doctoral study 3 years on the impact of culture and localization on the success of your games in the MENA region. I wrote about how being from the culture is key to success of any game in any market, especially in the MENA region. We are very cultural or culture-sensitive market in all aspects, and I think this is why we failed, and we are compared to back to Leamington Spa.
Yeah.
You know, Leamington Spa is a small town. It's a very small town. And they decided to turn this town, which is an actual spa with people average age of 70 and above, to turn it to a young vibe. And they invested in the past 10, 15 years in Leamington Spa. Now they call it the Silicon Spa. And now it's the third GDP of gaming in the UK. And it's a village. It's a very small town. And the power of Leamington comes from Coventry University, from Leicester University, which is not far away, from Birmingham University, which is in the West Midland also, and Warwick University. They built bridges between the university, the local ecosystem, the local companies, and they started to feed into the R&D. And I think, imagine if a small town like Leamington Spa can build this, why not the MENA region?
This is the question. This is the question, to be honest.
So yeah, I think, unfortunately, we need to push more.
Which pieces of the puzzle do you think we still...
I think we why we need investors are not because of the money. Investors give a trust in any business, any industry. And to be honest, our decisions as individuals in the region still be controlled by our families. Still you want to be a doctor, a engineer, type of a profession, because there is no support for the gaming. When investors start to put money in gaming, the government start to invest more into gaming, universities, parents or the culture will start supporting
consider the industry as a future for them.
Exactly. And I think this is the small piece, until today, I'm talking about, I don't know, Dubai maybe and Saudi Arabia might started to set up a gaming company today, to register a gaming company. In most of the Arab countries, you don't have something called gaming company. There's no type.
In Abu Dhabi, there is.
In Abu Dhabi, if you take out Abu Dhabi and take out probably Saudi Arabia today, which is sad. If you go to a bank today and tell them I want to they will tell you gaming. So, but if you go and tell them I'm doing an AI, artificial intelligence, whatever, they will be interested in, or education or whatever. So yeah, that's the missing piece.
But why are investors not investing in the region? You told me, like, for example, we need a success. Jawakir, for example, was a huge success. It was more than a success that we needed. Even Babel, for example, here in Jordan.
True.
Why are investors still not?
Who invested in Babel and who invested in Jawakir?
The acquisitions, you mean?
Yeah.
Still front.
Okay. So again.
Yeah, but this should be a security or a catalyst for other investors to look to, even for the local investors.
Because Telfront is ready. They were ready to invest in a gaming company. They understand the long, the short, and the risk that will be in Babel or on Jawakir. Local investors, they're still not educated at Telfront level.
Yeah, but when you see a $200 million acquisition...
Yeah, they will say it's once, we had a previous success, for example, look into Maktoub in Jordan, acquired by Yahoo. Since Maktoub, we did not see any local investment happening in something similar to Maktoub.
This is the problem. Because we talked about Peak. Peak was a catalyst for the Turkish market. Jawakir should have been a catalyst for us.
Of course. I think it's a cultural thing. I think it's a cultural thing.
Yes.
I think it's a cultural thing, and we need to work on the culture. Yeah, it's true.
And how do we do this? Because, for example, we've all heard about the money that Saudi Arabia was investing in the gaming industry, and now people people from abroad, my friends, they ask me what's happening in Saudi Arabia, when should we come? But honestly, for me, I haven't came across the programs. I came actually across the programs which are early stage, but in general, as a company today, we haven't come across maybe the investments.
We know that Saudi Arabia is investing today in total for the upcoming 10 years, $40 billion plus dollar into different
the local
in different areas, from e-sport to capacity building to publishing, etc.
I want the viewers to understand
It's
what's happening
a huge
ground.
on the ground. It's a huge investment for it's it's not millions, it's billions.
Yeah.
And I think when you look into $43 billion into gaming, I think we need all to work with Saudi Arabia to make this investment successful.
Yeah.
And this is my message since day one. When it was in Pocket Gamer Helsinki when they announced the first investment that will be launched. They announced it the second day when they talked in the panel about the investment in Helsinki, and I said we all need to support this investment. There is no competition today in the region. I think we need all to make sure, because if it fails, it will take us out as a market.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done. So the way we have to today to look into first, myself, when I teach because we are involved in teaching students age 9 up to graduates from university. I always tell them to look into that the next 10 years. And today it's becoming very easy. Each country of the region, even France, they have something called the Vision 2030. In Jordan, it's 2033. But everyone, we have 10 years vision. Look into it. See where the investment is going. In Saudi Arabia, there's a big chunk that is going into gaming.
Yes.
So why not to push my kids or schools or university to see where we can fill the gaps in Saudi Arabia? Yes, they are growing in terms of local talents, but they need UI UX. So I need to create UI UX people. I need to create marketeers, people who basically can specialize in monetization, local monetization, because I can bring the best expert in monetization from Europe.
They don't understand how it goes on the ground here. Yeah.
And this is where I think the unfortunate part from us as a culture, we are only looking into the short-term
shortcuts.
Exactly.
We're looking to succeed via shortcuts
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this is
and there is talent. Like in Saudi Arabia, I was surprised.
Amazing.
About the quality of the talent and the new companies that are starting.
Unbelievable. I work with even small talents in Saudi Arabia. So we work with schools
they are
in Saudi young small schools and unbelievable talents. And this because also we know Saudi Arabia. You are from the region,
Yes.
but when you talk with a European about Saudi Arabia, they only think about Saudi 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Totally, it's a new story. Yes. The way of communication, the education level, the type of ambition. They don't talk about themselves being rich because of their petrol today. They talk about they're rich because of the youth and the economy that is building on the youth. And Abu Dhabi is the same. Today I had the chance to talk with a guy. We had a visitor from Kuwait. The same thing. No one is mentioning we are rich because we have gas or petrol. Because we have the youth population, we are working on this and this and this. So I think culture needs to change. We need to be more brave and believer in our youth. I'm addressing this to our investors because our investors we need to to strongly believe in youth. Otherwise, one of the things that I noticed since COVID and pre-COVID, it was difficult to move to the UK for any developers who wants to move, or from Egypt, or from Jordan, or Lebanon. Now it's very easy. It's easier.
I didn't know that.
It's very easy. Today, first of all, compared, to the visa process, it's easier. Compared to the communication, I know a lot of developers, and part of my developers used to work with me, now moved to Kuala, for example, and from the region.
Nice.
And
Kuala is looking into the region anyway.
Big time.
Yeah.
And they hired them working from home, from Egypt, work from Jordan, or today you don't need to be anywhere to serve the App Store market. And this is why I'm saying it's if we keep on neglecting our youth, investing in them, Kuala will invest, exit, which is good. But the cycle, we need the cycle to
have a brain drain.
Exactly. It will definitely happen. Definitely. And then we will say, unfortunately, one day we were going to be...
Or we'd be proud that our are abroad.
Yeah.
This is what happens in my country anyway.
One of the things I always, today I'm not, 10 years ago, the biggest model in revenues or in our region was building call centers.
Yeah, servicing. Yeah.
Service. And this is the worst model to build today. If you keep on serving other companies, you will never create IPs.
Yeah.
And India itself, the biggest service company today, is no longer considering themselves as a service country. They are looking to more IPs, creating more R&D, creating more products, innovation.
Right.
Ourselves, we are proud that we are hiring and we're being hired by X company with 100 developers building the products of X in the US. Why? So this is how the culture has to change, I believe.
Nour, for those who are watching us, where would you position us as a market for them? Because I know lots of investors are looking into the region. Lots of publishers like Quali, for example, it's known that they are looking into the region. They are here, but other publishers are also looking into the region. Even developers are looking into the region. Where would you position us as a region for those people to understand where we are at today for them?
I think through Voodoo also, they acquired a Tarbouj, I think, in Dubai, Tarbouj Games, and everyone is looking into getting into the market, the MENA market, because of the potential and the existing.
There is hype. Also, there is hype.
100%. I think today we are in a very good position. We are in a very good position and opening more foreign investment coming to the region.
Yes.
Which is good for our young studios, for our mature studios. As you said, Jawakir did Babel, they did a great job. In Jordan, we have also Tamatam attracted good investment, foreign investment. I think we are in a good position. We need to have, let's be honest, quality products. Still, few companies offering quality products. We need to raise the quality of our youth in gaming or developers. We need to enter into understanding, because we might have the best developers, the best artists, but we have few people who understand monetization, analysis.
They lack some experience.
We lack some experience, and we are not investing because we think monetization is a small part, data analysis is a small part. No, we want to be coders. We want to be artists. I need to be an animator. And when you look today, and we learned a lot from the hyper-casual market, it's all about visuals. It's all about how you bundle it. It's all about data analysis. It's all about attribution. Today, it's
easier today because of hyper-casual.
Of course. When I visit universities these days and I ask, do you teach attribution, for example? They will tell me, what do you mean about attribution? I say, I need people who understand attribution, because I need to basically track my downloads.
Do you think these topics are taught in Europe, in the
Yes,
UK?
of course. UI, UX, attribution.
UI, UX, of course. But attribution,
of course.
Data analysis, of course.
They do. Of course, at least they have an internship.
They understand the concept.
So today, and I'm familiar with the Jordanian, and here I'm talking about the Jordanian. So most of the students, they do internship because they want this 100 hours of internship to finish,
just
they
for
can
the
sake of graduation. When I remember my team, when we interviewed, her name is one of our team members at that time, Fiona. She came from Leicester University, a young fresh grad, and I had my team from Jordan, senior, minimum 8-9 years of experience into gaming. We interviewed her to hire her as UI UX.
In the UK?
In the UK. And she's a fresh graduate. She just came out from the university. I remember one of my team members telling me in Arabic, let's stop the interview not to embarrass ourselves more. And I said, why? He said, Nour, she will, doubt our experience today because she came ready.
Yeah.
So I told her, Fiona, what how? She said, I had to do an internship with a gaming company because my career path
was in gaming.
in gaming. I was planning to be in gaming, so I did an internship, so I know this and this and this. I did this project and I did this project. And this is how,
Yes.
we have to work on our students and universities.
For the investors, because we mentioned that publishers, investors, and developers are interested in the region, we need to explain to them where we are at today. One interesting thing I saw is that during the past couple of years, I would say, whenever I was at events, I felt that I was in competition with European VCs that are coming to raise from the region. So for investors in general, what would you what would be an advice for them looking into the region coming from you?
Coming to the region, so if I will go, if anyone wants to raise from the region, from outside of the region, I think they need first to acquire a local regional gaming studio or work with a local gaming studio to make their life easier for a long time. Second, for our local investors, whoever investing in gaming, I think the best today to, and it's, as you said before, it's already, proved to be successful, or we managed to deliver, whether
multiple studios,
yes.
In different countries, by the way.
Different countries from Egypt, and different, not only mobile platforms.
Yes.
Steam, PC, even Sony console. And I think they need to look into, the long term, not the short term. And they need to basically think of growing their talents or their products for those local talents or studios to a global level by investing in this local products. And I think bringing, you asked me to compare to, I'm not being, to be honest, and not because I'm from the region. I lived in Europe, and I personally, and I worked there. And today I have an operation in the UK, and I hire people from Jordan, Egypt, and in Europe. Honestly, there is and you know it better than we have,
This is what I wanted to hear.
The creativity level is, we host Pocket Gamer. We host Pocket Gamer every year here in Jordan, and our friends from Pocket Gamer always, when they see the mass of people attending, they will tell us, this will never happen in Europe. We have young developers of the age of hungry, building games, and from what? From nothing. So there is big pool of creative people, people who understand the local and the global culture. Honestly, we need to support them more. We need to look into them more, and
invest into education.
Invest into education. Having, today we were in a meeting about Minecraft. So what's the difference between the guy who created Minecraft and any Middle Eastern? And he did an exit $2.5 billion with Microsoft. What's the So individual with 2-3 team members with him, he managed to sell a product like Minecraft to have Minecraft education, which is great. So what is required? Because the ecosystem, again, the culture in Sweden, because he's from Sweden, and we know how Sweden today plays a major role globally in gaming. It was mature to create a guy like him, but are we far? No. And can we? Yes, because we have this pool of talents, of course.
Yeah, the talent is what keeps everyone going.
Of course, on top.
And we're doing something from nothing.
And we and I always say we are and again, the whether Lebanese, Jordanian, Palestinian, Syrian, whoever, we are tough people.
Yes.
We don't break easily.
We've had it the hard way.
We don't, it's very, very, regardless from where, we basically tolerate, we have this resistance of creating, and this is a historical thing. It's not from today.
Yeah.
I always say people who managed to build the pyramids of Egypt or the Petra or the whatever in our region, they will manage to write the code on a PC.
It's the old world anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is how I think we created the major part of the world history. And I think we can manage to write a C# code and create a...
Of course.
We
have crazy civilization. Nour, for someone today that's watching us, that's looking into starting their own company, what advice would you give them? And what's one thing that today you didn't know at the time you would like to tell them on how to start? Maybe, I don't know, like what's an advice?
My biggest advice, don't rush into building a big studio. Even if you manage to raise money, don't rush on hiring a lot of people. This is the biggest mistake. It's not about size of your team. It's about the quality of your products, the innovation of your product, the marketing plan, etc. So don't rush. Don't basically focus on building a game studio because you want to exit. This is, and don't believe that failure is a good thing.
Nice. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes, because we are taught always, no, don't afraid a startup failed 10 times until they said. Why you are telling me this why you are telling our entrepreneurs this from the day one? So imagine I'm sending you to school. I'm telling you, Dad, you can go to school. Don't worry if you fail at school. A lot of people fail at school. One day you will manage to. You will never study. You will never go to school. I will tell you, Dad, go to school. Entrepreneur, go and build this company. And when you fail, I will be there to help you get into the next phase. As an infrastructure, as a community, as a culture. But don't say from day one, it's okay to fail. Don't worry, it's okay to. This is one. Second, we all. What's your exit plan? Why do I need to exit?
It's the normal startup.
This is the UK model, the US model.
Yeah, it is the
US model. In Europe,
I totally agree.
I know one of my close friends from the industry, and probably you know him. He's the founder of Handy Games. I don't know. Who was acquired by one of the THQ Nordic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he started 3-4 years, one of the early who started mobile gaming, basically. And he got acquired after 15 years or 16 years.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be from day one. If he was in the US mentality, he will be thinking
close the company
in 3, 4, 5 years if he failed to.
Yeah.
We adapted the Silicon Valley model.
This is our problem. We adapted the model without having the money. Exactly. Or the mentality.
Or the infrastructure.
Or the infra, yeah.
The schools, the universities,
we want to become the Silicon Valley without having the components.
And I think this is our biggest challenge today. So my message is don't get into mobile gaming or video gaming or whatever gaming if this is not something that you love.
Yeah.
There is a lot of other opportunities across, go into gaming, building technology of gaming, but don't build games.
Tools.
Build tools.
Yeah.
But don't go into gaming because, people are saying, X got, because when Jawakir, it's a funny story because, we are in the same market, we build almost the same products, and everyone started to question me, why you did not get acquired like Jawakir? Who told you I want to be acquired? No, why? It's a good congratulations for Jawakir to but my dream is totally different.
Yeah.
No, how come you will reject money? No, it's not about rejecting money. I don't want to
not seek it.
I don't seek being acquired. I seek maybe merging with another studio. What? I said, maybe another studio will come and pay me $10 to merge with them and create a new kind of products. different than, being acquired by. So still,
Yeah, it shows given who you are and what you did
so
the
don't
past 20 years. Definitely.
So do what you love, follow the passion, and build products that relates to you. If you are building a gaming studio, and focus on which we basically we were discussing earlier. Focus on your local success. Take it globally, because I think glocalization. I always look into things into
Glocalization.
Yes.
Nice.
So I always think globally, but I always act locally, because if you don't act locally, you will never get into the global level. And this is how we build our product. This is how we build ourselves. This is why when I created the idea of Meiselward UK, because we have Meiselward UK, Meiselward Jordan, I basically built two different stories,
Cultures.
two different culture, two different ways to tell my story. So because you cannot mix easily, because it has to be localized. But I always think about this global market, and the more you can see, 20 years ago, to sell your products in not even globally, in Saudi Arabia, you need to fly to Saudi Arabia to convince telco operators to. Today the market is open. And the more we get into this globalization, the more easy to get your products across borders,
Especially in gaming.
of course.
Yeah, distribution is easy.
But you have to think of this local people aspects, very important, and sometimes it help in raising, whether if you are raising money or you are creating a new product, always help you to build it faster and easier. Definitely. And I think, whoever, I will give you an example how things change quickly. So Tricks is a card game.
Yeah.
Very popular here in the region. But how come it became popular today in Syria, in Germany? Because of the Syrian.
Yeah.
The
interconnection of culture.
It happened and we are not talking about few people. You are talking about hundreds of thousands of people playing Tricks in Germany. You look into them, you think they are Syrians. You look into them, they are Germans who started to learn Tricks because they have friends at school who are Syrians origin, who came from what happened, conflicts in Syria and they became friends because this culture brought Tricks with it. And
Tricks is becoming more
popular.
Wow.
And when you look to Balut, which is very famous in Saudi Arabia, it's a French game.
Yeah.
And
I think you have one.
Yes, and if you look into the history of Balut, how it came, you will see that it came from the previous trade that was happening in our region. Look to, we have a very famous game in our culture called Hakim Jallad. It's like 4 pieces of paper. You write Hakim Jallad and you say Man al-Mufattish, who's the inspector, etc. And we always thought this is a live-on Jordanian game type of very simple kids game on piece of paper. And then you discover it came from India. It's an Indian game that came to our region through like Kerem, which is very famous board game in the Gulf region. It also came from the trade that was coming from India to the Gulf region. And they brought Kerem. A lot of people who plays Kerem thinks that Kerem is a Gulf game. It's like a billiard with fingers, but it's an Indian game. So the same Tricks today. The Syrian took Tricks from to Germany, and you can go to today to cafes in Germany, and you will see him having a mobile game with the Tricks, whether from us, Jawakir, whoever who's creating the Tricks and playing it.
I like that. You can build a game for a local market, and that local market can actually spread it wherever they are.
Of course.
Very interesting.
So this is I think the future. Is how you culturally can take your product outside of.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the future for gaming in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the region and outside of the region?
I think we are back. So COVID took us from a single player to multiplayer.
Yeah.
Because we were forced to go into people wanted to connect. Today, I think with the we live in the AI, phase of our life. Everyone from my grandma to up to the kids at school talking about ChatGPT, AI, etc. I think everyone wants to be the AI. I think we will go back into building games, more smarter games that depend a lot on AI, creation of dynamic playability.
Yeah.
I think the cross-platform will happen. I'm a very strong believer of on the capabilities of cloud, putting your data to be playable across different platforms. This is the future, the upcoming. So we can see the clouds are becoming easier and easier to handle your data as an end user. Mixed reality will take time. I think there is a lot of still yes. I think the tools are 4, 5, 6 years away from expensive. Technology is still challenging for different aspects. Things are coming fast, but I am seeing more and more people who basically enjoys playing on Steam platforms, and at the same time playing on their mobile, syncing their games on. So I think this is where the upcoming, let's say, 4 or 5 years, we will see more games with stronger AI, better graphics, and deeper stories, dynamic. I think I love the era of AI myself. I'm enjoying it. I don't need
storytelling and level design and
imagine ideation is the most difficult part in our today. You have a brain that works like 1,000 of brains
that works for you
and it's available anytime. So wow, you can keep on creating stories, and and I always tell my team and my students, I need you to be emotionally intelligent in games and not so I need you to build games that is can drive emotions, can engage, because AI will never manage to get your emotions as us as a human
until now,
and will never. I have a very strong example. The best surgeons today, open heart surgeons, are robots. But does it mean when you do a very perfect surgery for open heart, that means you will pass your medical surgery? No. You need this doctor who comes to you and tap on your back, tell you
the emotional part.
Your kids are waiting outside. Yalla, recover fast, because your kids is graduating next week, so you need to be there. So this will recover you faster. The robot will never tap on your back and tell you that. He will give you the perfect. So we need to mix. We need to. So I shocked my students and their teachers. So we do this app challenge program where we teach 14 to 16 years old students across Jordan and their teachers on coding and game development. So I told my students the other day, yes, you can use ChatGPT to put your...
It's okay to use it. It's like a calculator.
And they were like, what? I said, yes, I don't care. Because I will know that the ChatGPT wrote your code, but I don't care. I care about game that makes me engaged, fun, that you can look into data that you are generating. You are sustaining me or keeping me, engaging me in your games, rather than spending your time doing a code that can be done in few seconds. So
of course.
So this is the new future. In games, I think cross platforms, cross gaming will happen, and in game development, which is always my this is the my passion. I think we'll see more technology that is helping us creating our ideation, art. I love Midjourney, for example. I love the fact that you can DALL-E and think with you on your...
It helps you brainstorm.
It helps you to brainstorm. I think this is the future, and we have to adapt it faster than we don't. We are, unfortunately, I see a lot of educational systems in our country, in our region, rejecting the fact of having, which is a big mistake. And I think we need to be smarter in writing commands on prompts. I think we need to engineer them in a better way, and I think we need to create more emotional driven people than just intelligent driven people. This is our, I think, the world today confirmed in the, through the past 5-10 years that emotion is the biggest martyr part of your, success. So I think this is where we have to drive our people, especially, and this is, I always say to them, because we always think that, emotion is for, we always fight male. I'm talking about culture, to be emotionally driven because it's some weakness. No, you need to be tough. You are a boy. No, boy, be emotionally driven. It's okay. That
we are emotionally driven.
We are. So it's okay. Don't think of being emotionally driven. It's a bad thing.
Yeah,
you need it for your product. So so this is the future. Hopefully
for the region as well.
Inshallah, for the region, it will be the best. I'm very optimistic on the region. I'm a very strong believer that the region will we will have more successes in the region. Individuals or corporates or companies. Also, the ecosystem will be you will see more university involved because those are part of the success. We will see schools also adapting, more programs related to gaming, building, from young. We see in Jordan we have what is called the BTech or the new system of vocational studies, which is very focused on gaming, which is very good. I think we will start seeing also people adapting more AI and
it's an opportunity for us, of course, to grab a market share in the new market.
Of course, and I think we can. I think we can. It's a tough. Politically, it's a tough region. We all know, but it's not an excuse anymore.
I mean, it's not an excuse, but it affects.
Believe me, there are a lot of tough regions in the world.
Yes, of course.
We need to accelerate ourselves. We don't need to look into. We need to be supportive to each other. And I agree. I think we need to, especially in the gaming sector, we can do it. I think we can do. I'm not talking politics here. I'm talking culturally supportive to each other, and look into a market and help markets to grow faster than they can. Saudi Arabia is a big market and I love it, but Iraq is another Saudi. It's another market. It's a huge market.
It's a hidden market.
It's a hidden market. When top Gs depend on Iraq, why we don't have products that is produced in the region to Iraq more and more. My biggest
developing one, but for a client.
Yeah, my biggest client base is in Iraq, but the problem is monetization. Why we don't help them? Why not work with them? Why we help PUBG to solve that?
But the VAS is still valid
exactly. We need to accelerate faster our local product, and I think and start competing in a. I think that we understood competing in a So I was talking back about Zip2Lab yesterday. One of my students, when I was trying to put him with another student building a game, I said, you need to work together. You have two different products, etc. He's competing with me. And I said, I'm working with Zip2Lab. Do you know that Zip2Lab is a company that much bigger than me? They can hire a team like myself, but why did they collaborate for the third time with me to build a product? Because they know there is a certain part of my operation that they need, which is the local part, etc. My understanding of the market, my understanding of the new product. So they need to
fill the gap.
To fill the gap, you need to collaborate with someone. Are we competing on the bigger? Yes, other products we are competing, but we are collaborating at the same time.
Yeah, I see a lot of. I see a lot of. I don't see gaming as a competitive market. It's an all our winners market. It's not a winner takes all.
صح.
I totally agree with you.
So this is where I think our next thing in the region, we need to look into markets like growing markets and push more and more to help them grow faster and convince markets that they believe that they are good markets to be builder markets. Kuwait is a very good market when it comes in the past because a lot of spending, but it's no more console PC market. It's more mobile, but there is a lot of talents in Kuwait that can build softwares and products. I think we need to convince, as an example, Kuwait to be part of the ecosystem creating games for the region.
Yeah, there's one company that I know of, or actually two.
So
Yeah.
we need.
Yeah.
So and look into this is my point of view. So Saudi Arabia, you have a huge population, you have people, you can create, developers, publisher, etc. But today, UAE, you need to create publishers.
Yeah,
Don't create developers.
exactly. This is my point. Exactly.
No need to create developers. Create them to be part of the publishing part, to understand the cycle, but don't create.
It's a perfect place to publish.
But don't create.
Definitely.
So this is my message always, and hopefully one day we will find, for example, why until now we don't have, an app-loving company created from the region.
Yeah.
Why we don't have an attribution company coming from the region?
Yeah.
If the highest demand that is happening on our dashboards, we see it on our mediation platforms, advertising is coming from the region, and it's served by X and Y and Z and companies who we cannot work with from time to time. Why we don't have a local company?
This is where the value of the GCC comes.
Exactly. So we need to create this tools. We need to create more companies that cater into the full ecosystem, I think. And not only developers. So I think the GCC countries, Abu Dhabi, UAE, they need to create more publishers. They need to create the next Wudo, the next Quali.
That was my message to Abu Dhabi Gaming.
I think that's a very valid message. I 100% agree on it. And encourage Saudi Arabia to create more developers because they have the population to have developers.
Yeah.
And encourage Lebanon to basically bridge with Jordan and work more into, I see it I always, and
it happens in other industries.
Exactly. In the radio, media, it happened. Today we
even
have
the publishing part, the GCC, like usually the businesses are headquartered in the GCC.
Exactly.
And the talent is actually from this part of the world.
So this is how I see it myself, inshallah.
I'm happy we agree on this.
Yes, I do agree, and this is the only way. It looks sometimes they don't like it because being a developer is sometimes nice and sometimes it's creating.
Yeah,
but it's not always the right.
It's expensive to develop,
of course, and not everyone can. And you can't. I always give the example of Boeing or Airbus. So they don't do it in one place. They basically contribute their manufacturing in different. I look into success football sometimes. Madrid is on the top. Real Madrid is on top team. It's it has
barely has a Spanish player.
So this is how we have to look into it. But they do successful league that everyone is watching. Everyone is buying a T-shirt from Mbappe yesterday. 60,000 people who attended this. So I think this is how we have to think about building the region in the upcoming 5-10 years.
Very interesting. Nour, for those people who are looking to follow your work or maybe follow Myselword's work or the Gaming Lab, where would it be best for them to do so?
So I personally blog a lot on both myselword.com and nourkhrais.com. So I write a lot. I try to share my knowledge.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I blog a lot. I write on my... I try to share everything. I'm very open in my... I learned Scrum Agile. I share Scrum Agile. I learned OKRs, Objective Key Results. I try to share it. Whatever we learn, we try to share failures, books that I read. Sometimes I have a podcast, was one of the top 10 podcasts as in gaming for the past 2-3 years. So I used to
what is it called?
It's Myselword podcast.
Okay.
It's
an audio.
It's an audio podcast. So we used to write about our experience in gaming, how to build a system in technical, non-technical, my failures, my successes.
Yeah.
So I write on nourkhrais.com. I blog a lot on myselword.com or Myselword UK, different aspects. So people can follow me. My LinkedIn is always active. I try also to share on my LinkedIn, I'm a very strong believer in sharing. I tend to be into the open innovation kind side of So I like to work with people. I always, consider myself as a hard disk. The more I share, the more space I have to enter new data. So this is how we look into. So I want to give more, so I have more capacity to have something new. And I think those are the platform. And happy with my community here in Jordan. I'm happy that we expanded into Saudi Arabia and Dubai recently. I'm happy that still people believes in creating games and sustaining the operation.
Yes.
Because it's not about, I always say, my father used to tell me, don't bring 10 out of 10 in school and then 6 out of 10. Bring me 6 and 7 and maintain your 7, 8. Better than showing me
reaching
10
the top ones
and then you disappear. So don't put your efforts once and disappear. You need, you need to be, I'm a Real Madrid fan, so you need to be a Real Madrid,
I'm an AC Milan fan. Actually, the exact opposite.
Ali, by the way, is an AC Milan fan. So yeah, it's this is how, and I'm happy that we managed to work this podcast together. And
I'm really happy. Actually, it was a nice episode. Thanks a lot for the insights and for the knowledge that you shared. It was really nice to have you.
Thank you for hosting me, and good luck in your future plans.
Thanks.
Thank you.